Good morning, children. Welcome to my channel English with Reena ma'am. I'm your English teacher, and today we will be doing the second part of the chapter, The Last Lesson by Alfonso Dot. Please have your pencil, textbook, and a notebook. So, whenever I tell you to underline, please do so. In the first part of the story, we had seen the effect of Franco-Prussian War on the lives of the common people. Especially in Alsace and Lorraine, we saw that common people were suffering because an order had come from Berlin which said that the people of Alsace and Lorraine wouldn't be able to learn their mother tongue anymore. Germany was imposed on them. And this was done why? Because mother tongue is very important to unite the people of a country together. These rulers wanted to take away their mother tongue from them so that they could break the unity of these people. In the first part, we saw that Franz had reached his school, and there he was informed that he wouldn't be able to read his mother tongue anymore. He was heartbroken. Along with him, his teacher was there, the common people of Alsace and Lorraine were there, so all were very sad. Now we will read the lesson, and please have a pencil to underline the important points. Just follow me. While I was thinking of all this, I heard my name called. So remember, who is I? The narrator is little Franz, the lazy school boy. Today he is very sad. It was my turn to recite. So why was he sad? See, he didn't learn his homework, and that was the last day. He wouldn't have any chance of learning his lesson anymore. What would I not have given to be able to say that dreadful rule for the participle all through, very loud and clear and without one mistake? But I got mixed up on the first words and stood there holding on to my desk, my heart beating and not daring to look up. Now, I told you about procrastination, so this is the effect of that procrastination. He thought that he would learn his lesson the next day, and then he didn't get any opportunity of doing so, and now he wouldn't be able to do so anymore. Therefore, he was feeling sad. I heard M. Hamel say to me, "I won't scold you, little Franz. You must feel very bad enough. See how it is. Every day we have said to ourselves, bah, I have plenty of time." So here, what characteristic of the teacher do you find? He is very honest. He is confessing his own fault also. He is not actually blaming the children only. He is blaming himself, the parents and the children. This part is very important, and certainly you will have some questions from this part. So please underline it, okay? What did the teacher say? I will learn it tomorrow. And now you see where we have come out. That's the great trouble with Alsace. She puts off learning till tomorrow. Remember, here we find personification. So Alsace is personified here. She puts off learning till tomorrow. Now those fellows out there will have the right to say to you, how is it? You pretend to be Frenchmen? So those fellows refers to whom? The enemy. Remember, Prussians, they will be asking them that why they haven't learned their own mother tongue so far. But you are not the worst, poor little Franz. We have all a great deal to reproach ourselves with. Your parents were not anxious enough to have you learn. Please underline this portion. See, the parents of these children, they were also poor enough, and they didn't pay so much attention to the education of their children. They thought that perhaps it would be better if the children could earn something. So they preferred to put you to work on a farm or at the mills so as to have a little more money. And I have been to blame also. Have I not often sent you to water my flowers instead of learning your lessons? So here the teacher is regretting for neglecting his duty. Sometimes he also neglected his duty and sent the children to water his flowers. And when I wanted to go fishing, did I not just give you a holiday? Then, from one thing to another, M. Hamel went on to talk of the French language, saying that it was the most beautiful language in the world, the clearest, the most logical, that we must guard it among us and never forget it. Because when a people are enslaved, as long as they hold fast to their language, it is as if they had the key to their prison. Please underline this part, this is very, very important, because here M. Hamel, the teacher, he tells the children, he tells the grown-up people sitting at the end of the classroom that they must not abandon their French language because it will keep them united and it will be the key factor to their freedom. Then he opened a grammar and read us our lesson. I was amazed to see how well I understood it. All he said seemed so easy, so easy. Now, why do you think that Franz understood everything that day? Because he paid attention that day. So, he understood everything and everything seemed to be so easy. I think too that I had never listened so carefully and that he had never explained everything with so much patience. It seemed almost as if the poor man wanted to give us all he knew before going away and to put it all into our heads at one stroke. So as if the teacher was also trying his best to help the students, help everybody to understand the last lesson which he was teaching. After the grammar, we had a lesson in writing. That day, M. Hamel had new copies for us, written in a beautiful round hand, Franz Alsek, Franz Alsek. So please remember here, it shows their patriotism, love for their own country. They looked like little flags floating everywhere in the schoolroom, hung from the rod at the top of our desks. You ought to have seen how everyone set to work and how quiet it was. The only sound was the scratching of the pens over the paper. Once some beetles flew in, but nobody paid any attention to them, not even the littlest ones, who worked right on tracing their fish hooks. So now you see, that day, that particular day, they were so sincere in their work. They were not paying attention to anything else except their studies. As if that was French too. On the roof of the pigeons cooed very low, and I thought to myself, will they make them sing in German, even the pigeons? Please underline it and mark it. It's very, very important for you all to learn this portion. Try to understand it properly. Here, the pigeons, it is actually a metaphor. Metaphor for what? You may write it down in your notebook also if you want. See, Franz wondered whether they would even make the pigeon sing in German. So, pigeon, it represents the soul, the free soul of a person. So, how will these authorities rule over the soul of the common people? As wing is pigeon's natural instinct, they will coo. You cannot force it to stop cooing. So little Franz was asking to himself that if the German would be able to enslave the pigeons also. If not, then they wouldn't be able to rule over the soul of the French people. Though forcibly they will make them study German, but actually they will never love the language. They will always love their own mother tongue, their own language. Whenever I looked up from my writing, I saw M. Hamel sitting motionless in his chair and gazing first at one thing, then at another, as if he wanted to fix in his mind just how everything looked in that little schoolroom. Fancy, for 40 years he had been there in the same place, with his garden outside the window and his class in front of him. So for 40 years of his life he had given to the children, and now his job was snatched away from him. So imagine how a person will be feeling at that moment. Only the desks and benches had been worn smooth. The walnut trees in the garden were taller, and the hopvine that he had planted himself twined about the windows to the roof. How it must have broken his heart to leave it all, poor man, to hear his sister moving about in the room above, packing their trunks, for they must leave the country next day. So they had to leave the country, and imagine the situation. They didn't want to do so, but they were forced to do so. But he had the courage to hear every lesson to the very last. So he was doing his duty. He was performing his duty so well that day. Though his heart was broken, though he was so sad, depressed, but then also he was doing his duty towards his students. After the writing, we had a lesson in history, and then the babies chanted their ba, be, bi, bo, boo. Down there at the back of the room, old Hossa had put on his spectacles and, holding his primer in both hands, spelled the letters with them. You could see that he too was crying. His voice trembled with emotion. So they all became emotional at that point of time. It was the last lesson, and their teacher, who was there for 40 years, he was also going away. So imagine what the situation was. But they had come there and they were listening to Mr. M. Hamill as a tribute to him. As M. Hamill was a dedicated teacher, so they were paying their respect towards him, and they also showed their respect towards their mother tongue. And it was so funny to hear him that we all wanted to laugh and cry. Ah, how well I remember it, that last lesson. So, little Franz remembered it throughout his life, that lesson. All at once, the church clock struck 12. Then the Angelus. Angelus is the big bell. It sometimes refers to the prayers also, but here it is bell. Actually, this is symbolic. Remember, this church clock and this Angelus, symbolic. It actually shows the end of their freedom. Okay, so it struck 12, and then the class ended. No more French lesson for these French people. At the same moment, the trumpets of the Prussians returning from drill sounded under our windows. So, Prussia had won over Alsace-Lorraine, and therefore they were there. M. Hamill stood up, very pale, in his chair. I never saw him look so tall. Please write it down here. Make a note that tall here actually tall actually doesn't represent that he had become taller. M. Hamill grew tall. No, it's a metaphor. Remember, metaphor, figure of speech here. So here actually Franz's deep respect and admiration for his teacher is reflected. So he thought that his teacher was looking very tall. My friends, said he, but something choked him. He could not go on. Then he turned to the blackboard, took a piece of chalk, and bearing on with all his might, he wrote as large as he could, Vive la France. So again, it shows the emotion of the teacher. He couldn't talk anymore, and he couldn't talk, so he turned towards the board and wrote there Vive la France, which means long live France. So it shows his deep love and pride for his own country. Then he stopped and leaned his head against the wall, and without a word he made a gesture to us with his hand. School is dismissed, you may go. So he couldn't express himself in words, he couldn't talk anymore, and therefore he, with the gesture of his hand, he told them to go away. So here you see how a teacher would feel that day when he had lost his job which he was performing for the last 40 years. And these children and these people of Alsek and Lorraine all were really feeling very bad, because this was the effect of war on the lives of common people. So with that we come to the end of this chapter. Now in my next video you will get the important question answers from this chapter. We'll be discussing it, we'll be doing it. If you find this video to be helpful, then please like, share and subscribe to it. Thank you all for joining.